Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're going to be talking about a subclass of the monk, straight out of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, the Mercy Monk. Monks have always had a bit of a hard time finding a subclass that really added a lot to the monk in general. The monk class has a lot of features that are reasonably powerful, if a bit limited in how often you can use them. And the subclasses always felt like they were giving you like one or two interesting things, but never really adding a lot to the monk's already extensive repertoire. The Mercy Monk decides to take this in a complete different direction. Let's have a look at some of the powers that they get. Right away at level 3, when you choose the Mercy Monk, you get quite a few things. Firstly, you get Implements of Mercy. You get proficiency in 2 skills, Insight and Medicine. Insight, one of the best skills in the game, and Medicine, not my first pick, but certainly not useless. And you get proficiency in the Herbalism kit. So 3 new proficiencies straight away. Useful ones, I say this is 10 out of 10. No complaints. That basically doubles the skills that a monk would normally get. They're not normally skill-based characters. But they also get the Hand of Healing ability. What it allows you to do is it allows you to touch a creature, this can include yourself, and spend a key point to heal them for a roll of your martial arts dice plus your wisdom modifier. At the lower levels, this basically looks like a touch version of Healing Word. But the reason that this is actually really good is because if you use Flurry of Blows, you know, your attack and then attack twice with a key point in your bonus action, you don't have to spend an extra key point to use Hand of Healing. You simply replace one of the Flurry of Blows attacks with a Hand of Healing touch. So you can hit, punch, heal, all using one key point and all using the same action and bonus action. So this is actually very, very potent because it allows you to do what the monk wants to do, which is punch people, while also healing. And it's very key point efficient as well. So that's a 9 out of 10 right there. But it gets even better because the last thing you get at level 3 is Hand of Harm. First Hand of Healing, now Hand of Harm. Once per turn, when you hit with an unarmed strike, you can spend an additional key point. For example, if you're Flurry of Blowsing and you used a key point already, you use another one, or you can use it on one of your main attacks. And you will deal necrotic damage, equal to a roll of your martial arts die plus your wisdom modifier. So picture this. Monk attacks. Maybe he's got a monk weapon like a staff, and he bashes someone with it. Then he uses a key point for Flurry of Blows. That means he gets 2 unarmed strike. The first one he punches, and he applies a second key point to Hand of Harm, doing extra necrotic damage. Then, because he's low on hit points, he reaches over instead of punching with his second Flurry of Blows, and he heals himself. 2 key points, 2 attacks and a heal, extra damage. It's good stuff. I give 9 out of 10 to Hand of Harm. So that's a lot right away. Then at level 6, when monks get their next power up for their subclass, you get Physician's Touch. This enhances Hand of Healing and Hand of Harm. Hand of Healing now can cure conditions: blindness, deafness, paralysis, stun, and poison. These are all very debilitating conditions. Normally you'd need to spell Lesser Restoration or some sort of healing antidote of some kind, but now the monk can just Hand of Healing, cure the problem. Still using Flurry of Blows, so this can be done in the midst of combat. Obviously, if you yourself are paralyzed or stunned, you can't do this because you can't take actions and bonus actions, but either way, it's a nice buff to Hand of Healing. Also, Hand of Harm gets a good buff, because when you hit someone with it, they are subjected to the poisoned condition. So the extra necrotic damage hits them, and now they have the poison condition, which doesn't do damage to them, but it does give them disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls until the end of your next turn. So for the rest of the turn, this creature is just much less effective. And the cool thing is that to land Hand of Harm, you just have to hit. You gotta beat armor class. If you do that, you can apply the poison condition with no saving throw required. That is actually really fantastic. This buff to healing and harm, definitely worth a 9 out of 10 in my books. I would have called it 10 out of 10, but there's a lot of creatures that are immune to the poison condition. And there's a lot of there's not a lot of situations where status ailments come up that often, but it's still great to have these powers when those things do happen. Now at level 11, you get Flurry of Healing and Harm. So this again buffs your healing and harm. Now you can replace all the hits in Flurry of Blows with a Hand of Healing, if you so desire. So now you can Flurry of Blows and heal multiple times in a turn. Yourself, your allies, whatever. And when you use Hand of Harm in association with Flurry of Blows, now it doesn't cost an extra key point. So now you're using 1 key point Flurry of Blows, heal and harm, no additional key points required. Or double heal, no additional key points required. You can still only do Hand of Harm once per turn, but this addresses one of the biggest concerns when it comes to monks: key point consumption. You are now getting a discount on your subclass's abilities. Rather than stacking more key points on top of each other, you are using less of them to do the same thing that you were going to do anyway. So this is why the Mercy Monk is so good, because it addresses the fact that key points are a really valuable commodity and we don't want to be using a bunch of them in one turn. This is 10 out of 10. This is one of the better aspects of the Mercy Monk. And their capstone feature at level 17, the Hand of Ultimate Mercy. This is a power that you don't often see in D&D. Once per long rest, they can spend 5 key points and touch a creature that has been dead for 24 hours or less. When they do this, it raises that creature back to life. This is Super Revivify, or I guess a lesser version of Raise Dead. It is fantastic. And for 5 key points, that is a... By the time you're level 17, you've got plenty. So that's a pretty nice cost for raising someone from the dead. And there's no... Like, obviously you can do it once per long rest, but when you take short rests, you get your key points back. And when you take a long rest, you can raise someone else from the dead. So this is the sort of thing that will come up plenty. People die in D&D a lot, whether they're NPCs or player characters. And having someone who can raise from the dead once per day, just by using a resource they've got plenty of, no need for a diamond like Revivify, nothing like that. This is a vastly superior power to many of the other resurrection options. And I give this high marks, 10 out of 10. This is a great capstone power for the Mercy Monk. And the Mercy Monk, in my opinion, is the 10 out of 10 monk. It is the best monk in the game. I don't think that's a controversial statement. A lot of people know the Mercy Monk has plenty of powerful abilities for healing, which monks don't normally get to do, and doing extra damage, using their key points wisely. Mercy Monks are fantastic. And if you're going to play a monk and you want them to be appropriately scaling as the game goes up, because monks have a bit of a problem with scaling, the Mercy Monk is a great pick. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and keep your eyes peeled for more subclass reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.